make a new name for yourself. Look at what has happened to Michael Perry. You know, one of our big stars here, the king of violence, he titles himself. And, you know, he's had such a rise in the sport. Now he's up against, you know, a little dweeb of a thing in a fight this weekend that we're all rooting for him.
Don't aspire to be, you know, one of these like YouTuber fighters.
Right.
Aspire for world titles. Aspire for Olympic.
That's him now. He's super jacked.
He looks like a bodybuilder.
See, that's what he looks like now. He's still jacked. Still looks great. He looks good though.
Whoa. He looks so old now.
He looks different.
Yeah.
In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan broke down one of the most talked about potential matchups in combat sports, Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul. Rogan, known for his candid opinions and deep knowledge of MMA, shared his thoughts on how the fight could play out, analyzing both fighters' strengths and weaknesses.
And like, there's something about like calling somebody out, which you immediately respect them a little bit more, like willing to put yourself out there for a fight.
He called out Conor McGregor too.
That's what Jake's doing.
Yeah.
That kid is a master troll, dude. He's a master creating hype. Like, dude, if I'm Dana White, I'm praying that this guy can actually.
A Jake Paul Amanda Nunes boxing match.
That's because Dana said, maybe I'll let Amanda Nunes knock him out.
Now I think people are coming around. I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fight. He knows how to fight. It's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up and coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, he'd be like, this kid's the future.
However, one recent topic that has sparked considerable conversation is his analysis of Conor McGregor's career trajectory, particularly how McGregor's self-destructive behavior contributed to his decline as a fighter. In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan attributed McGregor's downfall to a combination of money, fame, and the self-destructive tendencies that came with them.
I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again.
What's happening with his the civil suit? He's being dropped by all his companies or something?
Yeah, you know, I don't know the real details of that case, but the reality is that guy's partying, and he's partying real hard.
Dude, some of his interviews, you can tell he is out of it. Have you seen the Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor interview for Roadhouse? And he's just tweaking the whole time, and tweaking. Jake's just like,
you know, it's funny. Shane Gillis has a great bit about Conor McGregor and Roadhouse. He goes, Conor McGregor basically played a cooked out Conor McGregor in Roadhouse.
To understand the magnitude of Joe Rogan's critique, it's important to reflect on Conor McGregor's rise to the top. When McGregor entered the UFC, he was a force to be reckoned with, known for his brash personality and charismatic self-promotion. McGregor quickly established himself as a fan favorite. However, it wasn't just his personality that captivated the world. His performance inside the octagon solidified his place in MMA history.
Perhaps the most important fight of your career. Give us your thoughts on this rematch. He should have killed me when he had the chance, because now I'm back and I'm going to kill you and your whole fucking team. You and them kids. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the thing wants. That's what I dreamed into reality. Woo, that looks good.
One of the defining moments of McGregor's career came in 2015 when he knocked out the legendary Jose Aldo in just 13 seconds to claim the UFC featherweight championship. McGregor's swift rise to the top was followed by his historic achievement at UFC 205 in 2016, when he became the first fighter in UFC history to hold 2 championships in different weight classes simultaneously. It seemed that nothing could stop McGregor, and he was on the verge of becoming the greatest fighter in MMA history.
They seen ya.
What we do?
Tell him I'm his daddy. Tell him I'm his daddy.
I really don't care. Like, he can do whatever he wants, and I'll continue to be the champion.
He said, tell him he's his daddy.
Tell him I am his daddy.
Ele tá falando que ele é seu pai.
Nunca vai ser.
Sit on my lap.
Nunca vai ser. Tá mais fácil.
Sit on my lap.
Eu domino.
Sit on my lap.
What I'm saying is this. When you knock a champion who's been that dominant and that good for 10 years out in 14 seconds, 13. There is a question, which is, was that in some ways a fluke?
However, as Rogan points out, the story of McGregor's downfall begins shortly after these peaks.
Which is, Dylan Dennis is a professional fighter. He's a professional fighter. He jumps out, he takes a swing at him. They're screaming, and Dylan's like, F you, and he's like, F you, and there's a bunch of people get involved, and then a bunch of other people jump in. The whole thing was nuts. But the idea that we should be shocked after him throwing a dolly at a bus because Khabib's on the bus. Those Russians don't fucking play like that, man.
Yeah. Did you see the videos afterwards when Dagestan where they're shooting off the Uzis and AK-47?
A woman who accused the mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor of raping her in a hotel in Dublin 6 years ago has won a civil case against him. The jury has found McGregor liable and ordered him to pay Nikita Hand €250,000 in damages.
McGregor's MMA career has seen setbacks in recent years. Since his high-profile defeat to Khabib Nurmagomedov in 2018, he has fought sporadically, with his most recent bout in July 2021 ending in a gruesome leg injury against Dustin Poirier.
UFC fighter Conor McGregor has been accused of sexually assaulting a woman after an NBA basketball game in Miami earlier this month. A legal letter outlining the allegations was sent to Mr. McGregor and seen by BBC News. It says the alleged assault took place in a bathroom at an arena in Miami. The woman's lawyer said she'd been watching Game 4 of the finals on Friday the 9th of June before the alleged incident happened. She alleged the woman was forced into a men's bathroom by security guards from the NBA and Miami Heat before being violently assaulted by Mr. McGregor. A lawyer representing Mr. McGregor said, "The allegations are false. Mr. McGregor will not be intimidated." Both the City of Miami Police and the Miami Heat, which hosted the NBA Finals game, say that they are conducting investigation.
Chandler, you said good match for Conor. Is that ever happening? Or
I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again.
What's happening with his he just got like the civil suit or whatever, and he's being dropped by all his companies or something.
Yeah. I don't know the real details of that case. I know his version of it and her version of it and what played out in the court. But the reality is that guy's partying, and he's partying real hard. And he talked about it in the court case. He's talking about cocaine. Like that was the whole thing, that we're all doing cocaine and we're...
McGregor has since been on a path to recovery, teasing a comeback while exploring opportunities outside the octagon. His 2017 boxing match against Floyd Mayweather, though unsuccessful, demonstrated his ability to draw massive pay-per-view audiences, proving he remains a global attraction.
How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
Floyd's not ready for this. Much respect to Floyd, he's got a solid businessman. What he has been able to do, he is a full animal at what he has been able to do. Yeah! But as far as real fighting, as far as true, pure, unarmed combat, Floyd don't want none of this. I think he does not want none of this. People will even ask him. He wants it on the boxing rules. He wants a boxing match. He doesn't want to fight. So I want to respect everyone in here. I love everyone is. Give Floyd a shout time, I'm coming.
Jake Paul, on the other hand, represents a newer breed of combat sports entertainers. Initially gaining fame as a content creator on YouTube, Paul has pivoted to professional boxing, where he has carved out a niche by taking on celebrities, athletes, and former MMA fighters.
I think he's like any other young up-and-coming boxer. It's just everybody dismisses him because he's a YouTuber.
For sure. It's easy to dismiss him, but I was there when he knocked out Tyron, and I was like, man, I'm done with this kid. I never wanted to corner another fight in my life, man. I was like, yo, he just knocked my boy flat out on his face, man. I was heartbroken.
Bro, he has power. His real power.
And his brash personality, marketing acumen, and improving boxing skills have earned him a record of notable wins, including victories over former UFC fighters such as Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, and Anderson Silva.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you'd be like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's for real. Because nothing about watching him fight screams like he's in over his head. If it wasn't that big YouTube star, you'd be like, that dude's got dynamite in his hand.
It is, but I see a lot of people talking funny stuff about like the leg kick didn't knock him out. What happened? So DC says in the detailed breakdown, I kick Conor's calf and Conor steps back and his leg kind of goes. And DC says, well, that's the leg kick that, hurt his leg or whatever. But when he went after that leg kick, he kind of reached down to grab the foot and threw an uppercut. And I was switch stance, so I threw a cross from my backhand that clipped him good. And that's when he took the step back and was hurt. I think that's a detail people are missing. Right hand.
Well, you landed a lot of solid shots in that fight, but there's no doubt that leg kick was that right leg up.
For sure.
Let me show y'all proof that Conor McGregor did, in fact, injure the leg that he broke in the third Dustin Poirier fight 3 years ago, just weeks before their bout. Right here, drilling kicks over and over again. It was already taped up before that, and everyone was like, oh, he heard it off of a Dustin Poirier check. Y'all don't know shit about MMA. He even posted about this after the fight.
Paul has made no secret of his desire to fight McGregor. Since 2020, he has used social media to call out the Irishman, ridiculing his losses and taunting him with offers of multi-million-dollar payouts. While some dismissed Paul's antics as a publicity stunt, his growing profile in boxing has forced many to take his challenges seriously.
What I really want is Conor. I'll put the nail in his casket.
Ideally, if you could have it your way, is it Nate, Tommy, Conor? Is KSI anywhere in that equation anymore?
Well, if KSI fights Tommy, he's going to get knocked out.
Yep.
I guess it's all kind of in the air. Time will tell.
Jake Paul made the call-out video. He disrespected Conor McGregor. Here's the mistake that everybody's making about Jake Paul. Because I put this on my Twitter account. I said Jake Paul's going to finish Askren in 30 seconds. And everyone's like, whoa, Askren's a fighter, blah, blah, all this crap. I knew Jake Paul would smoke him because Jake Paul is the person I used to be. He's a cocky, arrogant young man who's training his ass off. You think Jake Paul isn't training? They're like, oh, he's just a YouTuber. He's training with Canelo and Ryan Garcia. The guy is training his ass off. He's not running his mouth to people without training. He's getting in there to win.
Reports from reputable outlets such as The Sun and TalkSport indicate that discussions about a McGregor versus Jake Paul fight are underway, with a potential date in mid-2025 being floated.
Hey, I'm sorry to have to ask you this, but I know you probably signed NDA, but blink twice if that Jake Paul fight was set up.
Blink twice.
I know you probably
I don't never blink because I got these liberty eyes. I don't need much air, you know what I mean, to keep them open. A lot of people wonder that, but think about this. If I say Rampage pay you $2 million, right? Let this dude beat you, what you gonna do? You gonna feel disrespected, number one.
Yeah.
Right? That ain't enough money.
Yeah.
But I got paid in the Jake fights. For me to do that, I gotta be willing to walk away for good, and it gotta set me up for a while, at least not for life, but something like 20-something million where I can invest it and fall off in the shade, because that's what you would have to do. Would I do something like that? You would have to know me to know I'm too solid of a guy to even have somebody walk to me and ask me.
Yeah.
What happened to me is what was going to happen to him had he dropped those hands.
For me, just as a spectator, as a media guy, as a fan as well, like to see his UFC run end at the Apex with no one there, with no fanfare, with no video package, with no honoring, with no Hall of Fame, with no nothing, put me down. It made me feel very sad. I'm wondering, as someone who looked up to him, how you felt about that.
I don't get why you're not in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I already talked to you about that. That's not important for me because...
But it's important for everyone around. But there's guys who retired years and years after you that got put in there. And you're more legendary than them.
Interestingly, India has been mentioned as a possible venue, a departure from the traditional fight hubs like Las Vegas or Abu Dhabi. While McGregor initially alluded to talks with Jake's brother Logan Paul, it now appears that Jake may be the preferred opponent for a blockbuster event.
Conor McGregor still called you a donkey.
The guy's a donkey, eh?
But guess what, Conor? I'll beat the fucking out of you. I'm gonna do to Nate what you couldn't, which is knock him the out. And when he's on the canvas and you're drunk, being your alcoholic self, realizing that you put your life away, that money fight will always be there. And when I knock Nate Diaz the out and you realize I'm the biggest fight for you, call me.
I'm gonna fight Conor McGregor in 5 fights.
He's gonna be a headliner.
No, seriously.
Put it out there.
We don't think about it. I'm gonna fight McGregor for sure.
Had you been talking to him like you bitch?
He's already ducking me.
Everything gotta call him.
He's already ducking me. I'm gonna beat McGregor in 5 fights. Just exactly like what you said. 5 fights from now? What's up?
Initially, Conor McGregor dismissed Jake Paul's challenges, referring to him and his brother Logan as dingbats. This was McGregor's way of downplaying the significance of the Paul brothers' presence in the boxing world. However, as time passed and Jake Paul continued to gain momentum and success in his boxing career, McGregor's attitude shifted.
Do you expect there may be 1 and possibly 2 Paul brothers ringside also, cage side?
I couldn't care about them 2 dingbats.
So you don't see any future where you box either of those 2?
I don't see so, but never say never. I mean, if they're gonna keep competing and whatnot, who knows? But dingbat.
Yo, you see that? Oh yeah, he's a bitch.
Bro.
I'm not a boxer. Dana White betting against me. He's going to chicken out of the bet.
McGregor began to escalate the trash talk, making it more personal and direct. He consistently sided against Jake in bouts, openly supporting Jake's opponents. This change in approach indicates McGregor's growing recognition of Jake Paul as a legitimate contender and his desire to provoke and engage with him.
Conor McGregor fired Mike Perry from the bare knuckle championship. Well, he goes from, look at what Mike Perry's doing, the BKFC put him in these positions, he's gonna fuck up that little dweeb, to you're fired. Like, why doesn't he just get in the ring with you? He's on Twitter, he's on his yacht, he's on cocaine, but he's not in the ring with me. And so until he does that, I don't want to hear any more shit.
Wait, what? Conor McGregor, I don't really care to chat about.
You never want to face Conor McGregor?
Well, I do, but that's what I'm saying. He's on Twitter, he's on his yacht, but he's not in the fucking ring winning. And so he could say whatever he wants online, but at the end of the day, he's not his own boss. He answers to Daddy Dana, and he can't get out of his contract. I don't believe he would ever fight me.
Rogan has also commented on Jake's ability to draw significant attention and viewership to his fights, which has helped elevate his profile in the sport. He has acknowledged that while Jake may not have the traditional boxing background, his work ethic and determination have allowed him to compete at a high level.
I thought it was a very good fight. Yeah. And it confirmed two things that I've been saying for a long time. One, Jake Paul is 100% legit. People that think he's not legit, he's conning you. He's conning you with his antics. He's conning you with his online persona and the talking and the marketing. When I saw him knock out Tyron Woodley, I'm like, that is a dangerous man.
Yeah. Do you think you could still throw down? Like if it had to happen? Like if Jake Paul called you out?
Well, he probably, yeah.
Really?
He's a really good boxer. He's a good boxer.
What if it was kickboxing? He doesn't really know how to kickbox. When I was a younger man and I had good knees, I could be kickboxing people, but I could barely get through a workout without being in pain now. There's a reality of knees and back.
In his discussion on the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan emphasizes that McGregor's self-destruction was largely driven by the excesses that followed his massive success. Conor self-destructed in a lot of ways because of money, Rogan explains. The staggering financial success McGregor achieved, particularly after his lucrative boxing match against Floyd Mayweather in 2017, appears to have shifted his focus away from the discipline required to maintain his MMA career.
He likes coke.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there's another issue to talk about, and that is that a lot of fighters, when they've sustained a significant amount of damage over the course of their career, and there's no way to not get that, right? I mean, we've all seen Conor get beat up and knocked out. We've seen Conor's sparring footage. He spars pro boxers. He's sparring elite fighters. You're getting hit in the head a lot. And a lot of fighters, especially towards the end of their career, turn to drugs.
What do you think about Conor tweeting still at like 3 a.m. like coked out?
He sent shots at me and Ryan talking shit. It's crazy coming from Conor, who literally got out of the USADA pool to do legit steroids. And I was the biggest Conor fan for a long time. In the last couple weeks, ever since he sent that, I've been trying to hate him. I've been trying to be like, fuck you, Conor. I can't. I love
Rogan also highlighted the impact of head trauma on fighters, explaining that consistent head injuries can disrupt brain chemistry and lead to unhealthy behaviors. He emphasized that McGregor's recent actions and admissions indicate that he might be struggling with these issues.
Man, I like your music selection. I always like your music selection on the videos you do.
You're well overdue for the Woe TV.
Yeah, let's do it, my friend.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do it.
Now we've got it on camera.
Okay.
We had a few fans who wanted to ask.
That's what makes me wonder if Conor could ever make like a successful comeback, as I feel like that like level. Yeah.
No, he could. He certainly could. I don't think you ever forget where you came from. Conor actually brought it up when someone was asking him about USADA.
It almost seemed like he was justifying drug use at some point. It was kind of wild.
Seemed exactly like
he was like, you don't know, like it was, I took myself out of the pool, everything's on board, and it was like very suggestive of this was within the rules and I had to do it. F you if you don't like agree with my decision, sort of.
What do you think? Who would win in a fight between Conor McGregor and Jake Paul? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.